Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our webinar. My name is Joy, and I will be your host for today. So you're all welcome. I'm particularly excited because today would be addressing a very important issue in the field of biotech, which is securing funding. So, having worked with quite a number of biotech companies over the years, we understand very well that investments and funding are key elements in the growth of any biotech company. And so we have prepared a few talking points with key speakers who are experienced in this field. So I'd ask to please listen with rapt attention, and I'm sure you would find this very informative. So our first speaker is Mario Borkolj. He is the CEO of Valency Communications, and he's going to be speaking to us about strategic position and messaging. So please, Mario, you can give us your presentation.
I hope you can see my slides. I'm talking today about corporate positioning or strategic positioning, which is a term you will hear quite often if you talk to folks from the investor relations department, corporate communications department, public relations. It is somewhat overlapping with other ideas like mission and vision statement, but there are certain elements that are very unique to a corporate positioning exercise. So I want to spend the next 10 minutes talking about some of them and give you an idea what this topic is about. It affects basically any company out there. It's not restricted to life science at all. It's relevant for new companies that are still flying below everyone's radar screen and you want to make your first impression, but it also impacts companies that are more mature, where the positioning is evolving, certain business activities are maybe getting more important than others. So you see this kind of exercise, companies are doing this not every year, but certainly every second year to check whether their positioning is still in line with their strategy. Oh, I'm having an issue with, oh, there it is. Just want to spend 1 minute, not even 1 minute, on why I'm talking about this topic, just so you know who this person is. I studied biology, so I do have a science background, but then moved on to journalism working in the space. So I already saw these companies and wrote about their strategy and positioning. But the lion's share of my career, I spent more than 20 years now working either for one company in the communications and investor relations department, and my longest period for this was the company called Morphosis, an antibody therapeutics company here in Germany, which over time has morphed from a pure technology company to a fully formed drug developer. So in these more than 10 years, I've seen how the corporate positioning and the messaging changed and needed to change over a certain period of time. I spent more than 8 years now on the agency side. So first working for a transatlantic organization called McDougall, advising all sorts of companies, big and small, across the landscape of biopharmaceutical drug developers, diagnostics companies, and med tech companies. And since 2 years, I'm running my own little shop. But to move into the more fun part, why should you, especially young companies, but as I said, also maturing companies, care about your corporate positioning and really think these things through? Here's a small graph, which you will probably often see popping up on LinkedIn every once in a while, that shows one segment of the life science industry. In this case, antibody drug conjugates, ADCs, very hot field at the moment. You've seen very many recent deals. So this is not a let's say, it's a rather recent graphic, but I'm sure there are going to be even more names up popping in the future. Similar to many other fields, the same graph would apply to gene therapy, to radiopharmaceuticals, to AI and drug discovery. You won't really find a niche that is basically empty and where you're only company operating in it. Most of the time, you're entering a more mature market with many players out there. And the right dot here at the lower right side this is you. This is your new company, your new baby. You're super proud of it. You want to make an entry into this market in the right segment. You want to be understood. You want to gain everyone's attention. And of course, people haven't really waited for you to do that. All these logos that you see on such a screen represent companies, represent networks, represent investors that have put money onto the table to fund these companies. So lots of interests out there that some of them actually don't want to see you succeed. If you have a revolutionary product, you might be a threat to some of these more established players. Some might be collaborators that you want to work with. So understand that you're entering a complex network of ideas, of interests, of science, certainly. And whatever you want to bring to the table and to this market needs to be understood well, understood fairly quickly, because everyone is busy these days. And the way to do that is really to think through about your corporate messaging, about your corporate positioning, so that you send the right message into these networks and into these markets. A second mechanism, I would say, that people like me see very often is a bit unfortunate, but it's human nature, I guess. These days, you say thinking outside of the box, that's a good term. It sounds like you're being very creative. The reality, though, is that when investors or other people see a new company, they usually analyze it and understand it by comparing it with stuff they already know. They like to put you in a box. They see this thing and say, oh, okay, this is somewhat like the company that I know here. This is maybe an ADC company. The strategy is like this and so that's very similar to something else I've seen before. Everyone thinks you're unique, and that's, of course, very good. But still, understand that people will contrast you to the things they know. And most people, because they're busy and want to get stuff done, try to put you in one or the other box. And with that box come certain labels. And with these boxes also come certain ideas about how valuable the box is, how valuable the box is that you're in. And this may relate sometimes to strategic or drug development aspects, like whether you have a really first-in-class product that is not comparable to anything out there, whether you're a fast follower to someone that is already on the market, but you are aiming for a certain market share, or whether you have the perfect solution, maybe a bit behind the others, but you think you're going to be best in class and over time dominate the entire market. So there are many of these aspects that are at play that make people put you in one or the other boxes, and some of them are more factual. Others are more related to certain trends. These days, if you are a small molecule drug developer looking for allosterics inhibitors, you might be in a very nice box. Molecular glues are all the rage. If you're a microbiome company, a couple of years ago, you would have been very hot and people would have welcomed you. Right now, microbiome is suffering a bit. And people are looking at the field and saying, okay, how long will it take till there's actually drugs really coming out of it? So be aware that it's natural for your audience to contrast you with something they know. And if they're harsh, they rather put you in one box pretty soon, pretty fast. What corporate positioning actually means is creating a communications platform, that shows in your website, that shows in your IR pitch deck, that even shows as guidance when you're talking to people, that helps you define and in some ways manipulate people to put you in the box that you want to. The most valuable box, hopefully, for your science to be put in. It creates a compelling narrative. So you also want to just not be one of the many people in that box. You want to give your audience an idea why you could come up as a winner in whatever box we're playing in. And you want to give people with your messaging an idea of how fast is the company going to make progress? What will the progress actually look like? What are the milestones you want to set yourself and communicate, reaching out to all kinds of ideas about credibility and track records. So you want to set some expectations where the company is going, at least in the foreseeable future. And you want to have an hook so that people actually buy into your vision and keep you and essentially say, if that's true, then I think you really might be a winner. And that's what corporate positioning should accomplish. There are all kinds of ways, different ways to skin the cat. And I don't want to go into all the details of how I do this with my clients. There are multiple agencies out there that do it in different ways. But here, just to run you through a couple of ideas, with the first one maybe being a bit provocative, but do you want an external person to help you with that, or do you want to do it internally? Maybe not the greatest sale pitch, but technically you can do it internally. If you have someone that you can really dedicate, being a champion for this process, an internal communications person or whatever, then I think every once in a while you should take time with that person and define a process to consider, what is our messaging? Is it still the right one? Do we need to change it? Are we actually getting the results back we want or not? So you can do it internally, but of course the benefit of using an external person is, everyone lives in his own little bubble. Someone like me can step out of their bubble and give you maybe a more clearer picture. There are other aspects. The way I do is I usually do a survey with all the people that are part of the leadership team and the board. So really talking to all of them individually, because sometimes there's 100% overlap and sometimes, people have different ideas about the best way to communicate that. And that's really interesting to see and dive into. I take a long look at the peer group, which I've shown a couple of slides earlier. No company is working on an island. You're all part of a broader network and peer group. And it's good to define how you fit in and why you could be a revolutionary player in this field. When you're more mature, when you're a fresh company, you start from scratch, you still have no website, you still work on your pitch deck, you have a clean slate. More mature companies should sometimes look at, is there stuff we can preserve from our current messaging, things that we need to kill and drop and work from scratch. But looking at the stuff that you have is also very important to see what has worked in the past. Back in the days, I would have, guys like me would have done that in a full day workshop. In this more virtual environment, I usually do a half-day workshop with people to then bring everything on the table, discuss everything I have found, everything I've learned in this survey that I mentioned, and define with the team, the leadership team, that corporate positioning. And everything should be on the table. There should be nothing that is forbidden. If there's one thing that kills such a process, then it's politics. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything needs to be discussed. And if you involve an external peer person like me, I think you should have some clarity what the end goal of the process is, not just having a nice meeting, but sometimes that work goes straight into a website. Sometimes the work goes straight into a pitch deck. It's great to define that right at the beginning. And we have a saying that no one leaves the room before everyone is happy with the corporate positioning that we have achieved. To kind of wrap up my part, I don't want to steal everyone's time. Here's a nice analogy that I think works well for me. If you have ever done a design process with a proper agency like the Nanobot Talks, for your website, for your brand, for your logo, you often get this nice little kind of small booklets at the end, your brand guide or style guide, where the folks that really know about that stuff, the designers, tell you, this is how you use your logo. This is how you should not use your logo. These are the fonts we use. These are the colors that define your brand. And I see corporate positioning a bit like that kind of stuff, like a style guide for your messaging, for your strategy. When someone approaches you and wants to talk about technology, you know exactly how you're going to play it. You know exactly what you're going to talk about and what you might actually not talk about yet because you don't want to, it's not in your interest, or something the lab is not ready yet for prime time. And likewise, when you talk about the team or stuff like the use of proceeds, so actually what you're going to do with the money an investor is giving you or should give you. And that's a good way to think about this. Be strict, just as you should be strict with your brand and your logo and your materials, is a good way to think about your messaging too. To wrap things up, here's a nice quote that I found where, hits the mark quite nicely. It's from a US businessman, Lawrence Bossidy here, who had his prime time, so to speak, in the 90s. So it's a while ago. You can see it here in the time frame he used. So basically he says, if you can't talk to people about your strategy in 20 minutes, you haven't done a proper job in this positioning department. Everything is moving faster these days. Often you have 20 minutes for an entire presentation to a business partner or an investor. But by and large, what he said here is still very much true about corporate positioning and how it's really done. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you so much, Mario, for that very detailed and insightful presentation. So next on our agenda is my dear colleague, Natalia Stetsurik. She's the Account Executive Director at Nanobot Medical Communications, and she would be talking to us about why you should think about marketing and communication. So please, Natalia, we're all listening.
So thank you, Joy, for introduction. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I hope you are enjoying our webinar. So before going off to my topic, so just a couple words about Nanobot. So we are a scientific communication agency. We help biotech companies communicate their science, and we are on a mission to help to bring 100 breakthrough products in life science area to market by 2030. So the topic I'm going to cover is marketing and communications, why it actually matters to you, what does it mean to you, and why it's not limited only to promotion. So, and what are the essential communication assets you might need at the very beginning. So let's start. There are 4 original marketing principles, well known as 4 Ps or marketing mix. So they are product, price, place, and promotion. They have been around for decades. What do they mean to you, to a biotech company? So the first one is product, and it's your science. So it might be a molecule to cure cancer, or it might be a medical device to relieve pain. So usually biotech companies have a very strong position here because they are backed by long years studies. So what do I need to think here about is the positioning. So this topic has been covered by the previous speaker, by Mario. So I go further. The next P is price. Of course, price has a little bit different meaning to a classic biotech company. So what do you need to sell? You need to sell your idea. So you need to get people interested and excited about your idea. So at early stages, maybe to find some co-founders. Later, to become a member of a startup incubator. So, and finally, to raise investment. Place. So where do you tell your story? Where do you communicate about your company? So I encourage you to think about both. How do you present face-to-face? And how do you present online? So what does your website say? What do you say on social media, maybe on webinars? So, and promotion, last but not least. So promotion means, first of all, communication to biotech companies. So how do I tell my story? So please consider, so it's not enough to say. So you need to be heard and considered. Now I'm going over to communication assets. So here I use must-have and nice-to-have approach. In our experience, we met companies who used to develop the whole package at the very beginning. So in most cases, they were companies backed by investments at the very beginning. So, but in case you are a small biotech company and you need to decide what's a priority for you. So I would drive attention to must-have package. So brand identity, like Mario already mentioned, website, pitch deck, and one-pager. Of course, it's nice to have a scientific animation to communicate through social media, to communicate through webinars and at conferences. Now I'll talk about each of these compounds, except webinars and presentation at conferences. They will be covered by the next speaker. So let's start. Brand identity. It's already a classic case when Nanobot is employed to create a scientific animation, and we ask to share with us brand identity, but there is nothing but logo, and sometimes even not in a graphical format, so we can't use it properly. So that's why when you let someone create your logotype, please request source files in graphical format. Please think about basic brand guidelines to define at least colors and fonts, and some templates for your slide deck. You can easily extend it later with tone of voice for both text and picture, with iconography for your products and sub-products. So with print design for your business card and letterheads. So the next is a one-pager or dossier. So you might need it for an investor forum. So here I ask the only question. So do you know that 7 seconds decide whether it will be read? So nowadays everybody is overflooded with information. So please find balance between being predictable and standing out. So what means being predictable? So you have to share the information which is expected by investors to be shared. So of course, visual language plays a big role here. So the information has to be structured and easy to read. Talking about pitch deck, I'd like to highlight 3 points. So the first one, so your pitch deck is not a scientific presentation. So you have 5 minutes or 7 minutes for your pitch, and a big number of graphs can't be read properly and understood. So that's why we recommend concentrating on the most essential things. So less is more. It's really the right principle for your pitch deck. So visual appearance is really worth at least as much as the content. So last year, after some new biotech companies presented at German biotech days, I could hear people saying so their presentation wasn't professional, so they should work on it. So, and similar like with one-pager, so find balance between being predictable and standing out. So here's a table, so it seems I can't, so sorry, I don't see it here. Okay, here is the table. It's supposed to be here. The table, I will correct it later, about what investors expect you to share in your investor deck. So I like it very much because it's based on recommendations of venture capitalists and on experience of successful startups. When talking about website, so please pay attention to clear messaging. So it's really great when people understand at a glance what are you occupied with. So the wording like we are working on a molecule 340 doesn't work as well, like, for example, protecting the gift of sight or accelerating drug development to cure cancer. So visual language matters as well. So use pictures, photos, especially photos with humans. So it's a basic principle of neuromarketing. Humans like watching humans. It works like eye catcher for us. So, and the platform you are developing your website on. In our experience, we met even biotech companies who developed their first website on weeks. So it's up to you. But still we recommend using professional platforms like WordPress or HubSpot. Both are user-friendly. You can easily manage them. So when creating a simple landing page with 5 screens at the beginning, you can easily extend it later to a full-fledged website. So, and when talking about HubSpot, it has a great feature, their CRM system. So I'm often told we don't need any CRM system. So maybe, but look, it's a great tool to store your communication with investors. So it's your investment in investor relation. Scientific animation. So I guess nobody doubts is really a powerful communication tool. Whatever you might need, so to create a video about the problem you are working on, or to create your mode of action video. So to create a simple explainer. So I don't know what's the problem, so I don't see videos I placed here as examples. I'm often asked about some recommendations, which type of animations should be chosen to tell your story. So it really depends. So when, for example, you need to establish your position as a market leader, of course, you would need something sophisticated. So in 3D, but if you need just an explainer, it can be done in 2D or a simple 3D. So what I'd like to highlight here, so your deliverables. So starting a scientific animation project, please think about illustrations, about loop videos you can get out of it. So, and now about social media appearance. This aspect is often neglected by biotech companies. Recently, I came across a great article on drug discovery Vault platform about how biotech companies leverage social media for their marketing and communication purposes. So it's not only about LinkedIn and Twitter, it's also about Instagram Reels, it's about TikTok. What is must have? So clear objective for your social media page. So it can be used for a number of purposes. So to raise awareness, to increase engagement, to communicate with your stakeholders and partners. And what's really nice to have is your communication strategy for social media, so including categories of posts and even post templates with preferred layouts and styles. So, and here I have some success stories about companies we used to work for. So, and analyzing their communication tools they were using. So the first one is about Flowsphere. We met them last year at Swiss Beer, and their CEO wanted to participate at the Bio conference in USA. He wanted us to rethink his brand identity, to create guidelines, to create a video about their technology, and to refresh their pitch deck. We did it in less than 2 months. So already that year, that summer, this company was selected for a number of accelerator programs, and beginning 2023, they were able to raise their pre-seed round of $1 million. So the next one is Dry Therapeutics. We met last year in summer. So that time, this company was raising their seed round, and they were rethinking their brand identity as well. So the first meeting was with Sienna Therapeutics, and later we proceeded with Bry. So you see, even the name of the company is reflecting what they are doing. We were supposed to develop the video about the topics they are working on. So out from the video, they took a lot of illustrations, looped video for their website, social media, etc. So now I know that they started their cooperation with Culture Incubator and proceed with their science. So, and the next one, Viper Therapeutics, it's a young biotech company from France. So their CEO, Mehdi, came to us with a clear vision what we had to visualize. We even didn't need to develop the script for them. So everything was just ready, but their budget was limited. And we had to decide between different low budget solutions. So besides, we also refreshed their pitch deck to make it more professional. So, and we were happy to see that first they were vice champion at the Boston Biotechnology Summit, and I guess 2 months ago they were a nominee in the best startup category of the Gallen Foundation. So summarizing, I would encourage you to think about communication as early as possible, and please employ professionals for this purpose. So this is not my words. So it's a piece of advice given by investors at the last Swiss Biotech conference to young biotech companies. So it will really save your time to proceed with science. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Natalia. Thank you for sharing your vast experience with us. So the final speaker that we'll be having today, his name is Dimitro Bilios, and he is our managing partner at B. Bryce Agency. He would be talking to us about the ultimate online pitch tools. So please, Dimitro.
I hope that everybody sees me well and hears me well. Okay, so thank you, colleagues, very much for your presentation. So we did hear from Mario how to position yourself, and from Natalia how to make a marketing strategy for yourself. And my part is more tactical, I would say, because I will speak about how to actually present yourself online, as you understand nowadays online tools are the main presentation tool for everybody, because in-person meeting is not always possible for distant locations. That's why I will tell you a little bit about how we do it, and how should you do it if you want your company or your pitch to look modern, and to optimize your cost for presentations. So as I already told, after COVID, we all understand that online tools are the main tools right now for communication between people. So that's why we highly recommend to use online tools for your presentations, for your pitches. Why should you do it online, not in person when it's not possible? First of all, it's cost efficient, because just one single meeting somewhere abroad would cost you more than making the online presentation, the webinar, which actually could be presented to a lot of prospects. And that's why when you make it online, you save time, you save money, and you actually save nerves, because when you make it online, you can prepare all different kind of presentations, all different kind of materials, videos, animations, etc. And you can actually make your product look very modern. When is it relevant for you to use online presentation? Well, first of all, if you have the wide audience, as I said, the wide audience could be even starting from a couple of people when they are located in different countries, and it's quite complicated to go to a meeting with them. So the main thing that you can use is the small online conference or a webinar, where you can present it to a small audience of yours. Or if you have the wide audience, also if you make the presentation for doctors or for some specialists, that's also a very good tool for you to present your product. When do you need to hire a professional for an online presentation, and when can you do it yourself? Well, first of all, if you use it for professional needs, and we are speaking about professional needs in the first place, you're making a pitch presentation, a webinar, online conference, education session, talk show, or any professional presentation of your product, much better to use a professional company, or at least a professional technician who will arrange all the technical part for you and help you prepare everything to your webinar, so it all will go smooth without any problems. If it's just a small meeting with your team, or a small presentation with a couple of people with whom you have already communicated before, and it's just a talk, then surely you can make it yourself through Zoom, through any kind of messengers. And in this case, you don't need a professional for this. Okay, so you have the task to make it professional, to make it for a wide audience. Where should you start if you make it with a team, with a professional team, for example? Well, first of all, you need to understand what's the main goal of your stream. Is it the coverage or a targeted communication with a concrete audience? Exact audience, or you need to make the wow effect, showing some aspects of your product, or some animations or some video, or you need to make the good engagement with your audience. That would be your starting point, where you would understand what kind of content should you present. Second question is the audience. What's the quantity of this audience, and what's the location of this audience? This will help you to choose the software through which you will be presenting. So you need to understand the quantity and the location of your audience, more or less. Then you should think about the speakers. If they're located in different parts of the country, for example, and you need to make it all completely distant online, or you have the opportunity to make the shooting in the studio or in your office, that also would be a very good point to understand in the first case. What materials do you have, and do you have to prepare some specific new materials for your presentation? We would highly recommend you to prepare as much interesting visual materials for your webinar as you can, because mainly people, they like to hear and to watch. They don't really like to read the text on the screen, just as you're doing right now. But in any case, if you have good video and a good animation, that would be a very good thing for a presentation in any case. What is the date and the time of your conference? When you set your date, it will be your starting point of all the preparation stages. Then you should answer yourself, how will you invite your audience? This is a very important question, because if you have a wide audience, for example, like hundreds of people, then it's quite complicated to invite them personally, each one of them. So you would actually think how to use either your CRM system for that, or to use any mailing services. So that's a very important thing that you should understand before you start your preparation. Then you need to understand how will you register your audience, because if you need the wide audience to be present on your webinar, you might want to register them and collect more data from them. So then afterwards you can make follow-ups with them, or you can make the database of your audience. So if you decide, for example, to make the online registration page, like the web page for registration, or you want to include it to your website, or you will use social media for that. You need to understand this at the very beginning of your preparation stage. How will you make sure that everyone will watch? There are a couple of things that you can do. First thing that you can do is the main thing, that you need to make sure that everyone receives the link for your stream, that everyone is don't have any complicated procedures of the registration. So the easier you make like the link for people, the easier you make the stream, the better will be the attendance of your online stream. Then you need to understand how you will engage with your audience if you need that. So if you need to make any kind of engagement, you can actually make some kind of polls, some kind of questionnaires, some kind of quizzes, or you can make testing afterwards, like making the follow-up with testing. And also, if you want the most of the audience to be present at your event, you can actually make some kind of the gift for them, which always works very well. For example, some kind of checklist or some kind of info that they might need in their practice, something that has some value to them. So that will be your encore to to take these people online and to be with you. Okay, then the last thing, but not least, you have to analyze the results and to make the follow-up. And you need to think about this beforehand, because some software allows you to collect more data for the analysis. Some software doesn't allow that. Okay, what are the stages of an online event? I will just run very briefly with this. If you will be interested, we could afterwards send you like the checklist for preparation of an online event with your request. So first of all, set the date and the name of the event. Create a brief scenario. Scenario is very important. You need to make the list of all your screen info that people will see in your event. That would be your brief scenario, and that's actually the brief not only for the stream itself, but for your preparation also, because when you look at your scenario, you will clearly understand what kind of materials do you need for this event. Then you need to arrange the speakers and their themes, speak to all the participants that will make their presentation, and understand what exactly they present, how they will present it, and etc. And choose the location from where the stream will be made. If it's made completely distant, then all you need to do is just to choose the technical party that will actually make this stream for you. If you make the shooting in studio, then you need to choose the studio or the location at your office, anywhere where you have very good internet connection, where you have good lighting, and the place where all your speakers can be located. Second stage is you have to choose the platform through which you will be making the stream. You need to create a registration web page if you need one, and you have to design the announcement, maybe the ad or anything that you will use to cover all your audience. Third stage is the invitation of all your people. You also need to choose at this stage the platform through which you will be inviting your people, whether it will be just the mailing service of the platform, or maybe you have already your CRM system through which you can make it. So you need to understand this beforehand. And promotion, if this is the event for a wide audience, then you probably would think about target advertising in social media and maybe some specific groups or communities that will be relevant to your topic. So you have to think about this beforehand. In our experience, the best period for promoting your event is 3 to 2 weeks before the event. Maximum is one month. That's like the optimal times range for people to gather. So we would recommend you to start promoting your event 3 to 2 weeks before the event. That's the best period, because if you promote it too early, the people will just forget about it, and you would have to remind them a lot of times to recall the theme of your event. So 3 to 2 weeks is perfect. Okay, then the fourth stage is you have to prepare all content and the final scenario, scripts, animations, etc. You need to test all your speakers beforehand. So if you have the event, let's say in a week, you would want to test each speaker with their presentation, with their video, with their sound beforehand. If you have the possibility to run the rehearsal, that would be very good. On every rehearsal, we usually find some narrow points, so it's very good to run it beforehand also. And set the technical brief for your technician or the agency who will be preparing the webinar. And at this stage, you already have to remind the audience, actually remind the audience as many times as you can. We usually use 4 waves of reminders for a normal online event. It's the day when the person registered, then a week before, then the day of the event in the morning, let's say, and the day of the event, like 1 hour before the event. So at least 4 waves of reminders will be preferable for any kind of online event. So the 5th stage is remind again, make the setting, go on air, record your webinar, and communicate with audience. If you will be planning some kind of interaction with the audience, you can make, for example, polls, you can make just some communication in chat. You can ask your audience to answer some questions, so your speaker will see how your audience thinks about different questions. So that would be a good thing to do also. And the 6th stage is collecting and store data. In the first case, it's your audience database. Then you can extract statistics in your event. You can see how many people were watching you, how many people were active during your webinar, and you can send all the people follow-up. Follow-up is a very important stage. Always send people follow-up after each online event. That's a good thing to do in order to keep up with your audience. Okay, so very briefly, which software should you use for your webinars? There are actually 2 different approaches to what you can do. First approach is mainly oriented for a wide audience. So you use it if you have a wide audience and you're not sure how many audience. When it's the open stream, so it's available to anyone who wants to view it, and it takes minimum effort from viewers. I'm talking about open platforms right now, so it can be YouTube, Vimeo, Zoom. This is the platform through which people will watch your online event. And the broadcast software that we use to create the stream signal is vMix Call, or OBS Studio. It's like technical software to create your picture. When you use YouTube or Vimeo or Zoom, you have pros and cons of these platforms. Well, the main pros are that you can invite as many viewers as you want. It has infinite quantity of viewers. If you have 100,000 or 10,000 of viewers, everything will just run smoothly on YouTube. And this platform is free of charge, which is may be important in some cases when you have quite a wide audience. Also, it's very easy to log in, and it's optimized for every device. So each one will see the picture on their device properly, in good format. They will see the chat, etc. This is an important thing because many webinar software have issues with different kind of gadgets, different kind of smartphones. For example, like Chinese smartphones, there could be some issues with broadcasting software. In YouTube and in Vimeo, you don't have any of those. Okay, and what are the cons? Well, first of all, is when you make it on YouTube, it's actually an open stream, so mostly every person can find this stream and watch it. That's the first thing. YouTube doesn't allow you to extract detailed analytics of your stream. You can only see the quantity of audience and the activity of audience, but you cannot see exactly the list of people who are watching your event right now. For example, in some cases you would need that, and if you need that, then your way is to use specific online presentation software. If you have any kind of interactive things in your scenario, like polls or anything like that, also in open source platforms like YouTube and Vimeo, it's very hard to do this inside of the platform. And actually, in Vimeo, it's impossible. Then in this case, you would have to use some other external software for this kind of activity. If you have a lot of this, you may also want to use specific broadcast software. Okay, second way is you use dedicated online platforms, which are specifically designed for webinars. Well, some examples of that is PineTool, GoToWebinar, Zoho, Easy. That's the platforms where you can make it all in one place. So what are the pros and cons of these types of software for your webinar? Well, first of all, it's all in one place. So on one platform, you can create the page for registration. And when people register, they have the link for their own online webinar that you're making. So they will have their chat, and they can communicate between each other inside of the platforms. Well, mostly like PineTool. And also you can receive detailed analytics because most of the platforms webinars, they will create you the database with all the people that have registered and all the people that were present during your stream and their activity, which is which could be pretty much of use if you want to check the activity of your audience. And also most of these platforms have built-in interactive tools with which you can create polls, you can create different kind of tests and everything that you would need to interact with your audience. But these platforms also have cons, and first of all, most of them charge for the quantity of people that you have in your webinar. So if you have, let's say, thousands of people, then it could be quite costly to purchase these platforms. Second thing, which is quite important for doctors, let's say, on our experience, is a complex registration, because when you register through the platform, usually you have to receive the email where you need to make the proof of your email first, and then you can, with a dedicated link, you can go and log in to your platform. And there you have to find the place where the webinar actually is online. And for some audiences, as I said, like, for example, for doctors, not always it's a good solution, because when they try to make all these operations, some of the audience just, quits their efforts and do not come to online show. Okay, then one more con is that most of these platforms have very limited possibilities in customizing the registration page. They just have the standard form, and you have just to use their standard form. Like when you make your own registration page, you can make whatever you want, any design, etc. And as I already told, most of these platforms, they have issues with different exotic devices, let's say, and this could be an issue for some part of the audience. Okay, so we talked about the software just briefly. This is the small page with the life hacks that I would recommend for you when you will be preparing your webinar. A couple of things that you have to arrange beforehand. First of all, you need to make the scenario, as I told. Scenario is the main document for the whole event and for all the preparation stages also. Then you have to collect, create a specific folder in your computer, which you will share with your technical staff afterwards, where you would want to collect all the pictures, all the titles of the speakers, all the presentations, and the scenario itself. Then it would be very good for you to create the templates for your stream. Like right now, you can see that in our stream, we have a very brief template with the background and two windows. One window is with presentation, one window is with my face right now. But if you have a more complex scenario, then you would want to create templates for all screens that you would have on your webinar, like with, for example, with 2 people on air, with 4 people, with different formats of the presentations, etc. And you would also want to create the document with all the links and passwords beforehand. So with, for example, if you use your YouTube channel for streaming, then you will need to create it beforehand. Also, one more thing about YouTube channels that you should know: if you are creating new YouTube channel, you always have to run the first test event first. The YouTube then takes 1 day to approve your rights, so to say, to make the broadcasting, and only after that you can create the link to your broadcast. So always do this beforehand, at least a couple of days before your event. Okay, then also you should always keep track of your timing because most of the events do not go exactly in the timing that you put in your scenario. So always be aware that some speakers can speak a little bit longer, some will be shorter. So you have to have a plan B for that, so to say. And test everything beforehand. Everything you can think of, the internet connection, the internet connection for your distant speakers, their presentation, your YouTube channels, check the designs, everything. Just make all of it beforehand. Okay, about the engagement, I already told some information. These are just the examples of the engagements with the audience that you can make during your webinar. It could be like polls, Q&A session, tests, quizzes, or some kind of giveaways. Okay, and one more thing, which I also advise you to take into account, how to not lose your audience while they are registering and entering the stream. As I told you already, just make the process as easy as you can. So the complete registration to your event will take just 2-3 steps the most. So people would not have to spend more time on that. Also, send direct links to the broadcast. People like to open one link and they hate it when the link leads to the page where you have to press something else to find the link to the broadcast. Avoid unnecessary email identifications or anything like that when people have to prove their email addresses. For example, at this stage, some part of the audience, can leave the process. Think of all the devices that your audience will use when watching the webinar. Also, I told information about this. Not all the devices work properly with any softwares for broadcasting. Okay, that's actually most of it. We have a lot of experience in making online shows, online webinars, broadcasting, etc. So I will just couple of seconds run through some projects that we made. We mostly worked with specific topics like medicine, like an energy sectors, and how it usually looks like. I'll just show you how usually looks the set of the technician for the small webinar. It's the main server where we make the broadcast picture. It's the audio interface, and if you have a couple of speakers with different kind of presentation, it's the computers from which we grab the signal. Usually for small webinars, we use 1 or 2 technicians. If we have some big events, then we might need more professionals for that. Also, if you use studio, you would have to think about good lighting. That's a very important thing. There is a need for each person to be lighted from 2 sides for a good picture, and you need to have a good background. If you use the green background, if you want to maybe digitalize your background and use some kind of animation on the background, you can use the green panel for your background. In this case, you always have to tell your speakers not to wear anything green in terms of their clothes, because it will be cut out also. That's one more thing. Okay. A lot of shows that we completed, but I think if you would be interested, we could send you more info on that. I think that's most of it. Thank you very much. And Joy, I'll give you my word to you. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you, audience. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Dimitro, for your very detailed presentation. So let's move over to the Q&A session. So the first question that I have is addressed to Natalia, and it reads, how do you balance the need for scientific accuracy with the need to communicate effectively to a broader audience? So I'll read it again. How do you balance the need for scientific accuracy with the need to communicate, effectively to a broader audience?
So look, first of all, we overthink everything we need to communicate. So we concentrate on the most essential things. So we discuss with our customers to cut maybe textual information, and we enrich it with visual information. So in fact, visuals deliver more information than we usually think. So, and your visual language usually helps to communicate properly.
Okay, so thank you very much, Natalia. The next question I would address to Mario. And Mario, it reads, how long before an upcoming big event, in quotes, so it could be a financing round, a company launch, a big collaboration, before or should we start to work on our corporate positioning strategy?
Yeah, no, happy to address that. I mean, obviously, there's always there's not a golden recipe for everything. It depends a bit on what exactly is happening. If you have your financing round secured and you're a new company, you want to think about positioning, but you also want to have your new website in place and things like that. Usually, I say if you're approaching a big event, you should at least 3 months before that think about your positioning at the moment, whether you want to update it. But if you need a great positioning to actually get investors excited, then I would even start 9 months before you need the money. So it depends a bit on where you are in your spectrum, but really kind of 3 months is hitting it very hard for everyone. I wouldn't go much lower than that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much. And so I have 2 questions addressed to Dimitro. The first one reads,
Okay.
how do you balance the need for scientific accuracy with the need to communicate effectively to a broader audience?
Can you repeat, please?
Sure.
Just one more time. Sorry.
Sure. How do you balance the need for scientific accuracy with the need to communicate effectively to a broader audience?
So, I guess you're repeating the same question you addressed to me.
I was
see.
just thinking
Okay.
that you just repeated the first question. Yeah. So.
Okay, so I actually noticed
Okay.
it, but I thought, okay, so I thought
Okay.
you could give a spin from your own point of view in terms of organizing
actually, I can speak something about that. When you're broadcasting, for example, your project or your specific product, just bring in as much details and as much scientific information and details as you can. The more content, the more interesting content you would give, the more engagement you will receive. Oh, just in general terms.
Okay, thank you. And then the second question, so is it possible to arrange a webinar like completely distance without being in that location at the time?
Yeah. Actually, it's possible, and it's a quite frequent thing to do because Usually speakers are located in different places. So in this case, you would just need a technician who will distantly connect all the speakers. And actually, this webinar that we are holding right now is completely distant because our technician is located in one place and all the speakers and the audience are located in completely different places. So it's completely possible. And yes, we can do it.
Okay.
We can do
Okay,
it.
so thank you so much. And thank you very much to our speakers. And to our listeners, you can connect with all of them on LinkedIn. You can connect with all of them. You can search their names. The names that they have displayed is the names that you can find them on LinkedIn. Just in case you have, further inquiries or you want to connect with them for whatever reason it might be. And we're already at the closing of this webinar. So I want to say a very big thank you to our speakers. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us. And thank you very much to our listeners as well for joining us and listening even up to this point. So I would also like to say, express our gratitude to everyone who actively participated by asking questions. So your engagement is truly valuable to us. And for those who registered for the webinar, we will be sending materials via email. So I would ask that you keep an eye on your inbox so as not to miss out on that. So once again, thank you all. And until next time, let's stay connected.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.